Yo, what is up, everybody? It is your boy and one half of Delinquent Duo here, coming at you with a kind of nice Dragon Link match that I had on DB rated. And I wanted to throw this video out here just because I want to showcase some of the still insane things that you can do with this deck. It is not dead. I've been playing it for over 2 years at this point, and it still goes crazy. So I know it's like not impressive to break a board with a god hand like this, but I just wanted to showcase some of the ways, some of the reasons why I think this deck is still really nice to play. So I'm going to get into this DB match right here. This was game 2 of a DB match, and I'm going second after winning game 1 going first. My hand is going to be Lancia, Abs, Chaos Space, Ghost Ogre, and Boot. My opponent has E-Telly, Water, Enchantress, Psychic Wielder, Right, and another Psychic Wielder. So he was playing like an ABC kind of E-Telly extender, like water, this with this adventure token stuff. It was kind of a mishmash, but he makes a pretty nice board, even through these double hand traps. So we're just going to go ahead and fast forward it a little bit while he sets up this board, because the most important part is me just breaking it. So I started with Standby Lancia just to play around the Water Enchantress, which he does have, and then when he goes into his right, I actually Ogre the Fateful Adventurer because I don't want him to dig a Griffin, but he still goes ahead and does a full Helki Fibrax combo with the Cupid Pitch. So he does set up a couple interruptions right here, and they're not measly interruptions, like this is like a good set of interruptions right here. He goes ahead and tries to make Baron. I just say, it was a little misplay right there, just to making sure the levels are right. So he goes ahead and does Baron. Now let me go back right here, because this is the play that's going to start it all off. I draw Noctovision for turn, which is not good because, as you had seen, there's like no other dragon starters in my hand besides Chaos Space. So if this Chaos Space actually gets negated, I actually probably lose the entire game. But I capitalize on my opponent's misplay right here. Because you got to think, if you're the opponent, right, and you see your opponent Chaos Space for Abs, like, you pretty much like are scared to negate that because you might play into Gamma, right? Now, did I have Gamma? No. Should he played around Gamma? Probably not, right? So I just want to make it clear that, like, this Chaos Space, if it got negated, I was definitely losing. But my opponent still does end up on 3 interruptions. I'm going to show you guys how I play through these 3 interruptions with this insane God hand. So again, we start off with Chaos Space, discarding Absorouter. This is just so free because even if my, like, no space goes through, like if it gets ashed or something, I still have Absorouter. As you know, this is pretty much like an FTK. So I go ahead, Chaos Space for Abs, and then it'll trigger these effects. So I get my White Dragon, and then I go ahead and get my Absorouter Dragon, which is a very nice. So now I'm already set up, and this is the point that you want to be at in Dragon Link, right? It's pretty much always trying to get to Tracer, and the fact that you open up Chaos Space and Absorouter is super nice because you already get your Tracer without having to go through your Dragon Ravine package. Now, let's go ahead and see how else I can do this. It was actually nice that I opened up Nakuto because it's going to allow me to chain block a lot of other things. And as you see, I opened up Boot, which is kind of a brick. And you're going to see, like, this chain blocking is going to be what's so important because it's going to allow me to play around the Savage and the Baron. So we go ahead and banish the Absorouter for White Dragon. And then I trigger these effects. As you see, I can't go into the Striker Dragon because there's just nothing to grab. I would have gone to get Boot, but obviously you can't chain block it, so I only get this double chain block, White 2, Nocto 1. And I do White 2 because I don't want him to negate my Nocto Dragon, because I would rather have it special summon onto the field, so I can get more extenders. So even if he does decide to negate Wyra Burster, I still have two more extenders, and I still have my Boot and Tracer as backup. So he's thinking, I just make it super suboptimal for him to negate anything because of the chain links that I set up. So he's just going to go ahead and activate E-Telly here for some reason. I'm just going to be like, okay, that's fine. So now I have to play against 3 interruptions right here. And now I'm thinking about how can I correct this board? So what am I going to go into right here? I'm going to go into another link to deciding what is the best one to go into. My opponent doesn't really have any darks in the graveyard, so dark is not a good option. And I just want to make a link so that way I could at least get the +1 off a Noctovision Dragon. And I already have this right here, Chaos and Tracer is going to be like a Pepega Ruler, which is I'm kind of also banking on. If everything goes wrong, I can go ahead and get Pepega. But yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and use these two to go into my Nocto. Now I like, sorry, I'm going into Romulus. I like going into Romulus in these type of situations to break boards because it's just free pluses if you get a chain block. So, you know, it's pretty much pointless to just negate a draw. And I'm going to go ahead and get my Ravine engine on board. Even though I already have my Rocket Tracer, Ravine is still really powerful because it's going to allow me to bait either like this Ogre or one of these negates right here. Because the send that I do is almost doesn't matter, right? The send is just going to be free pluses all day. So it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to go ahead and get something free so that way he's forced to negate it later on. And I know that he has this Ogre right here. And I'm thinking this Ogre is really going to hurt my boot or my Ravine, so I'm just going to try to bait it with the Ravine. So I go ahead and actually special summon the Black Dragon and then go into my Chaos Space for another free plus because, you know, Ogre is at least pretty good against him, probably for the next turn, so I kind of want to hold that. Go ahead, get my free draw because Chaos Space is just that broken. I draw into a Nibiru, so now I'm back down from like only 2 cards in my hand, or 3 cards in my hand starting out, back to 2 interruptions, and I still have my like full Dragon engine on board. And now this is going to be another nice play, so I'm thinking, well, I don't want to do Boot Sector Launch because that's probably just going to get negated. I don't really want to do Ravine just yet because I don't want it to get ogred, and I'm thinking my next play could be going into, go ahead and dumping the Galaxy Spiral Dragon, Galactic Spiral Dragon, so to get like a free level 8. And I'm thinking if everything goes wrong, I could at least have 2 level 8s on board and make a vampire play and try to break the board that way. So I actually do something really nice because what this Chaos Space allows me to do is add another chain block into my Borload Savage. So I just go ahead, have it normal summon this turn, so I go ahead and normal summon the Tracer, right? And I know that even if he keeps all these guys on board, I still have Boot Sector to special from the graveyard, right? So I go ahead and I'm thinking I was going to make Pepega Ruler in this play because I kind of, as a Dragon Link player, you kind of like tunnel vision into Pepega a lot of times. But in this instance, because I have the chain block from the Chaos Space with the Black Dragon, I actually go ahead and go into my Savage because Savage is at least going to force 2 interruptions right here, right? Because he has 2 different negates and I could actually beat over the Baron once I get this extra 500 from the link monster that's going to be attached, right? So I'm always going to be baiting 2 interruptions with this at least. So I go ahead, Black 2, chain block that. It's actually just pointless for him to negate again, which is the whole point of why I'm making this video, just to show all the advantage that you can get with the Dragon Link, which is why I think this deck is still cracked. So boom, free White Dragon. That's going to be a free discard later on if I need it. And then I go ahead and put Pistion. Now I'm at 3,500. So now I'm threatening just to beat over Baron, which gets rid of a negate. And then I also beat these 2 negates with one of my Savages, right? So I am going to just go into the battle phase, beat over Floor because it's free, and then beat over this token with my Romulus because it's free, going to main phase 2. And I knew I couldn't kill, so I'm just going to go ahead and see what I can do. Now at this point, I go ahead, activate Ravine because I really do want to bait this Ogre. Because once I bait this Ogre, it's going to force me to Savage, right? And then that Savage, even though it doesn't even matter because I don't even care about Ravine at this point, I just want to use Savage because I want to negate, I want him to use his Savage on my Savage. So that's my reason to go through that. And then he goes ahead, I use Ravine, he uses the Ogre. I'm like, oh no, I really need to go ahead and get my free plus into the graveyard, which I don't. So I just go ahead and Savage negate because it's free. Now he's scared of what is going to happen, right? What am I honestly going to send, right? Like, I don't have a Seyfried in the graveyard. The only thing that I would send is maybe like a, you know, the Galactic Spiral, which I can't even summon at this point because I only have 1 Dark Monster on the field. So it's kind of pointless for him to negate it, but I definitely just bait that out. And I bait out his 2 interruptions like that. I'm like, fine, let's go ahead, gets destroyed. I just pretty much just traded a discard with 2 of his negates, right? Now, I'm going to go ahead, link these 2 because my Savage is already used, go into Seals. Now, Seals is another interruption, and you can see at this point, I already have 3 interruptions on board. And even if I were to just stop right here, it would be pretty decent for me because I have 3 interruptions because of all the pluses that I got that he just pretty much couldn't even negate. So now that he has, I go down to 1 monster on the board, and I leave these 2 monsters up on purpose because I want to go ahead and get my value out of boot sector launch. So go ahead and get boot. Now I'm pretty much playing with no interruptions, and I'm like, all right. The only thing that I'm worried about right now is maybe nib, so that's why I will go ahead and go into seal. And at this point, now I just know everything is baited out, everything is free at this point. So go ahead, boot sector to tracer, tracer effect to pop boot, go ahead and get my level 8. And then at this point, I go into the quad world because he left this Mecha Phantom Beast Link monster on the board. It's going to be another free discard for me to go ahead and pop it, get my 2 guys back for free, and then go into like a Papega Ruler or something. And then using these 3, I can go ahead and go into something else. So go ahead, use that, get rid of my Ogre because at this point it's kind of a weak interruption since I already know that I baited out his Fateful Adventurer. That's in the graveyard, so that's not coming back. And boom, pop that, keep the strongest interruption still in my hand as a backup plan. And I know I'm going to go into Papega because I'm going to get and I know I'm going to get a free +1 off of that. So that's fine. Go ahead for a free discard. Bring these guys back. And then at this point, it's like, okay, let me just go ahead and go into Papega Ruler just so I can get like a Lancia or something, right? And this is going to be even like more crazier mills. So let's go to these mills right here, and I'm thinking on what I want to grab. Pretty much anything that I grab at this point is just going to be free discard fodder. And I go ahead and just grab the Nibiru right here because I know I'm just going to discard it. And it was actually really nice that I got Token Collector into the graveyard as well because that is going to be another interruption for his Water Enchantress, which is already in the graveyard. So that's going to be free for that. Now I grab Nib because it's like, I know I'm going to discard it, so I don't want to give him any more free information. I actually just want to trick him to think, you know, even if all goes wrong and he's able to break this board that I set up, I still have Nib as the backup plan. And because I discarded a Nibiru, he's probably going to think that I don't even have a Nibiru in my hand already. So I go ahead and use these as my final 3rd link. And I go ahead and go into the Unicorn just to spin back the Savage because it's the only thing that's threatening me right now. It's still a negate, so I go ahead and spin that back. And boom, I done cracked the whole board with my little ass hand. So I just leave myself with a Seal and a Unicorn because this is going to go ahead and just go into access code next turn, and it's going to be game from there. And I still have Nibiru as the follow-up. So I'm left in my graveyard with follow-up of Papega Ruler, and I got Token Collector, and I have a Safer as well, which is going to go ahead probably. It can even shuffle back my Chaos Ruler if I really need it that bad, shuffle back my Savage if I need another negate, and or even if I draw like a Levy, it's going to be free, right? So that's in my graveyard. Then in his graveyard, he pretty much went through all of his good resources, especially going through this Mecha Phantom Beast play. The only thing that he has left is going to be this ABC engine, which I'm not worried about, and it's going to be this Water Enchantress, which I already have the negate for. So as you can see, the Papega mills were crazy. The hand was crazy. I know I'm like just a scrub that's trying to play this game, but I still think I did that very nicely. And I wanted to show you guys that because all of the chain blocking that Dragon Link does, it's probably its best strong suit, right? Which is why a lot of people are playing like 3 Noctovision Dragon and double abs. I don't play 3 Nocto. I'll show you guys the list in just a second, but just all that chain blocking that you do actually could just break the whole board, right? Because it makes it's so invaluable to negate that your opponent just kind of has to let it go through. And I just got free pluses all day. So he's going to go ahead and Water Enchantress right here. I already know that was going to happen. Go ahead, grab right. Right is fine. It's not going to do anything because he doesn't even have the Fateful. So that's just going to be free token collector, free extender. Go ahead and pop that. And then, boom, what is he going to do at this point? Like, sure, I can't, like, nib him right now, but it don't even matter. And he's going to go ahead and normal summon the Psychic Tracker. And this is just really sad because this engine that he has for this E-Tele package is just like really weak and it kind of bricked his hand the whole time. He's going to go ahead and normal Psychic Tracker, special summon Wielder. That's all fine. What are you going to do? Make Verte because I'm just going to bounce it anyways. And he goes ahead, tried to beat over that. Excuse me. And I already know that he used Psychic Wielder's effect in hand this turn, so it doesn't matter. I'm just going to bounce that back. He can't beat over anything else, really, unless he wants to beat over this Heavenly Seals, this Seals summon, which is fine. I go ahead and just special summon Tracer right here, because I'm like, there's nothing else for me to special summon at that point, because I already had went through my other Abzerauder. I actually sided one Abzerauder out for this mat, for going second. So I already went through my one Abzerauder, and I'm just going to go ahead and go into this because I know that these two level 4s are going to make a free 8, and like I said before, I go ahead and get safer, and I could actually spin back Borreload Savage and have that as another negate. So he doesn't beat over this, which is, I'm like, why? Why wouldn't you beat over that? I don't think he understands, and he just kind of scoops it up from there because he sees the writing on the wall that I'm just going to win with anything that I do. So that was a nice GG. And just, again, just showcasing you guys the power of Dragon Link that is still here. And I just want to say thank you all for watching. Let me just go ahead and go into my deck really quick. So just going to go ahead and exit this out. Here's my Dragon Link deck right here. I kind of organized it as starters over here, extenders over here, bricks right here, and then hand traps over here. So this is the choices that I've been making. It's pretty similar to my list IRL. The only thing that's different from IRL is that I don't have like Forbidden Droplets. So I just play Forbidden Droplets just for the DB because I'm tired of seeing all of the Scythe, which is fine. So again, starters right here. 3 Safer, 3 Chaos Space, 1 Black Metal Dragon. These are all my starters. I played the 1 Black Metal and I took out the Dragon Maid Tidying package because Tidying kind of loses to Vashuda and the Equip Spell Bounce from the Adventure tokens. So it's not that good to have trapped cards, even though it's a really nice recovery engine. But I go ahead and switch it out for Black Metal Dragon because Black Metal plays better into Droll, which nobody's playing. But it's also just a really good normal summon. I like to have just more normal summons instead of these weak normal summons right here. And then the other tech choices that I play, like I said, I only play 2 Nocto Vision Dragon. I don't really like playing 3, even though 3 is free plus all day. But it's just like I don't want to play too many big dragon bricks because you honestly just brick. Especially since I'm playing Driver in the main deck, it's just another brick to have. And I just want to be able to at least normal summon something and then extend from there, rather than having like 2 or 3 level 7 or level 8 dragons in my hand and not being able to do anything at all, right? So another thing that I also play is the Galactic Spiral Dragon. A lot of people, you could play the Chaos Emperor Pendulum Dragon, which is a nice card. It's very good for recovery, but I just don't like banishing it often. Like the banish effect is kind of costly sometimes, especially when you're like doing all this extra banishing for like Levianeer and stuff. So I like the Galactic Spiral because it's free to send off of the Ravine, and a lot of times when you have a board like Seal and Chaos Ruler, you can have a Galactic Spiral in your graveyard and then still special summon it for free to go ahead and go into the Zombie Vampire, which I also play. And yeah, that's pretty much the deck. That's all the different tech choices that I play. The hand trap lineup is just what's good this format. Ghost Ogre, Nib, Veiler, and Gamma. I like playing Nib, Veiler, Gamma in my main deck because I want to see at least a combination of 2 hand traps that's going to be able to like Nib and then have a negate for a Baron or a Griffin. So that's why I like playing Veiler and Gamma, because those 2 can negate those even if I have a Nib, right? And then Snow Rabbit is also really good for the Fateful Adventure. So you kind of got to play it. Also, it's really good to have Ghost Ogre because when you mill it off of like the Zombie Vampire, it's a free summon and it's going to be another interruption on your turn too. So that's going to go ahead and be the list. That's going to be the whole video. Thank you all for watching. My throat is just getting horribly destroyed after not recording a video in some time. But if you guys did like this content, please give a sure like and subscribe. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.